What if the ums of appliances are distant memories, electricity is rare, and refrigerators simply are not a thing? Now think about getting through the bone-chilling winters or the unpredictable turns of each season, needing to store every bit of food to last through it all. For the Amish, this represents a way of life, characterized by creative ways of preserving food that aligns with the changing demands of each season. The most fascinating aspect of the Amish is that they exist completely off the grid, utilizing ancient techniques to store food for months, sometimes for years, relying on traditional knowledge instead of contemporary convenience. Their techniques are not just about function. They are packed with purpose, each one crafted over generations to ensure that stored food remains fresh and full of nutrients for months on end. It is not about just getting by. There is an art to their work, a mix of skill and foresight passed down through countless seasons. By storing food in creative ways, they are preserving both their hard work and a deeper connection to nature's rhythms. When you hear about their methods, you will see that they are not only practical, but they also reflect a respect for each part of the harvest and an aim to get the very most out of it. Each technique has a story in itself and reveals a journey of trial, refinement, and wisdom stretching back through generations. Every piece of food preserved holds memories of the harvest and hours spent under the sun. This kind of preservation offers more than simple sustenance. It is about keeping a community resilient, maintaining independence, and honoring hard-earned resources. Throughout these methods, you will discover there is a clear sense of purpose. They do not just use these techniques for survival. They do it as an expression of self-sufficiency, an embrace of simplicity, and a tribute to the timeless rhythm of nature. By the end of learning about these methods, you will get a deeper glimpse into a world where old ways are still very much alive, guiding the Amish through each season and helping them store not only food, but tradition itself. Preservation for the Amish transcends simply stocking up. It is about maintaining independence from modern resources. Preservation for them is a vital practice that keeps their communities resilient and self-sufficient. Using methods like canning, pickling, and drying, they transform each harvest into a sustainable resource that can last for years. This approach ensures that every bit of hard work in the fields is honored and that nothing goes to waste. Their preservation methods deeply align with Amish values of simplicity and sustainability. These practices are handed down through generations, reflecting their commitment to living in harmony with the land. Amish communities flourish by storing food, allowing them to sustain their way of life without supermarkets or refrigerators during difficult periods. It is not merely about keeping food fresh. It is about aligning with the seasons and honoring the effort and benefits of every harvest. Utilizing natural techniques and local materials, the Amish respect the planet's rhythms, safeguarding the results of their work. This lifestyle is both sustainable and satisfying, guaranteeing they never depend on outside resources. Their considerate and inventive method has preserved their lifestyle for centuries, reinforcing their communities and creating a profound bond with the land. Yes, I mean these 17,000 of them. At the heart of any Amish homestead lies the root cellar, a cool and shadowed space beneath the ground where temperature and humidity stay perfectly balanced year-round. Root cellars are essential to preserving the freshness of potatoes, carrots, onions, and apples. These underground space shields produce heat and light, protecting them from spoilage for months. Rows of vegetables lie in backbone of hearty Amish meals even during harsh winters. Root cellars function like nature's refrigerators, using Earth's insulation to keep temperatures stable. Root vegetables and apples remain crisp long after harvest. Amish practices include wrapping individual fruits to prevent bruising and layering produce carefully to avoid damage. They minimize food waste while keeping fresh produce available throughout winter by taking such steps. Regular checks are crucial for maintaining root cellars, since one rotting piece can spoil others. The Amish vigilantly remove any signs of decay, ensuring their stored food remains safe. This underground storage method is an art passed down through generations, allowing families to stay self-sufficient and connected to the land. The root cellar, a subterranean fridge, exemplifies the Amish dependence on natural methods, proving to be both efficient and sustainable. No, looking to Amish food preservation could be complete without delving into canning, a tradition that holds a cherished place in their kitchens. Canning for the Amish is not simply a task, but rather a time-honored ritual. During the harvest season, it is common to find entire families working side by side, encircling large pots of boiling water. Together, they can ape a far wide array of foods, from tomatoes and peaches to green beans and even meats. Each filled and sealed jar serves as a small celebration of their labor and nature's abundance. These vibrant and flavor-packed jars line their shelves like trophies, each one a captured moment from the fleeting harvest season, ready to sustain the family through the cold months. And this spicy. The canning process itself requires focus and skill, even if the steps remain straightforward. Fresh fruits, vegetables, or meats are packed into glass jars and then heated to eliminate bacteria. This ensures a safe and lasting seal. High-acid foods like fruits undergo water bath canning, while low-acid foods, including vegetables and meats, require a pressure canner to achieve the necessary heat for safe storage. When done with care, canning locks in the flavor and nutrition of summer. This allows families to open a jar in midwinter and savor the garden's taste, as fresh as if it had just been picked. Attention to detail is essential in Amish canning, as they make sure each jar seal is airtight. Many listen carefully for the familiar pop as jars cool, signaling a secure seal and safe contents. Every Amish family adds its personal touch to canning recipes, with cherished methods passed down through generations. These variations give Amish preserves a deep sense of heritage, connecting each jar to family traditions and the unique recipes behind it. Canning for the Amish goes beyond a mere preservation method. It is a tradition that transforms food into lasting memories, each jar a small piece of history ready to nourish loved ones in future meals. While many recognize canning as a classic food preservation method, the Amish also rely on an ancient yet highly effective approach to dehydration. They carefully remove moisture from foods. This creates conditions that prevent bacteria from flourishing, extending food's shelf life well past the growing season. This simple but impactful technique is especially handy for preserving apples, peppers, herbs, and even strips of meat. In Amish communities, foods are often dried under the summer sun or in low-heat wood-fired ovens and then stored in glass jars or cloth bags. This process not only preserves each item, but also intensifies flavors. Sweetness deepens in fruits, while herbs and spices take on a more concentrated aroma. Dehydration serves practical and unique purposes, making it a versatile choice for food storage. Dried foods, being lightweight and compact, are perfect for long-term storage or even as portable snacks. Amish families easily store them and rehydrate them when needed, especially during the cold months when fresh produce is scarce. Think of a handful of dried apple slices, rehydrating to add a burst of summer sweetness to a winter dessert or snack, reconnecting them to warmer days with just a taste. To maintain the quality of dried foods, the Amish use airtight containers, safeguarding their dried produce against moisture that could lead to mold and spoilage. This step is essential, even if a small bit of moisture can spoil carefully preserved items. When stored with care, some dried fruits, such as apples and pears, can last up to 20 years. This remarkable longevity provides Amish families with a valuable food resource that balances nutrition, convenience, and durability. Through dehydration, the Amish reinforce their connection to nature, proving that with patience and simple methods, the essence of each season's bounty can be preserved long into the future. The Amish turn to fermentation as a powerful method, not only to preserve their harvest, but to enhance it. Fermentation transforms foods, bringing depth to flavors and changing textures in a way that creates staples that are both delicious and packed with nutrition. This ancient art can be seen in rows of cabbages that gradually become sauerkraut, or cucumbers, slowly turning into tangy pickles. The real magic behind this process lies in the natural acids created during fermentation. These acids are essential. They act as a preservative, protecting foods so they last for years even without refrigeration. The Amish consider fermentation more than just a practical preservation method. It is a way of giving foods new life, of bringing tangy and health-boosting additions to their meals while honoring the season's harvest. Fermentation thrives on nature's microscopic helpers, beneficial bacteria that work with natural yeasts or salt. These elements create that distinct, slightly sour flavor unique to fermented foods. Sauerkraut and pickles, rich in probiotics, are highly valued not just for their long shelf life, but for their health benefits as well. In Amish communities, these foods are easier to digest and support gut health, adding a nutritional twist to their hearty, homemade meals. Their unique tendencies. Each bite of sauerkraut or pickled cucumber offers a flavor that is both comforting and slightly unexpected. And these preserved foods are often enjoyed during colder months when fresh produce is limited. For Amish families, these probiotic-rich additions bring variety and essential nutrients to winter meals. The process is carefully monitored to ensure the highest quality. The Amish take great care to clean jars and tools before starting each fermentation batch. This focus on cleanliness helps ensure that only the beneficial bacteria thrive, preventing unwanted contamination. The attention to detail is key in keeping these fermented foods safe to consume over extended periods. Through fermentation, simple vegetables and a bit of salt are transformed, carrying a complexity of flavors that remind one of the patience and care that went into their creation. This method does more than preserve food, it connects Amish families to traditions passed down through generations, adding character and a sense of history to each meal. Fermentation provides flavor, nutrition, and a link to age-old wisdom, proving that preservation is as enriching as it is practical. When it comes to storing meat for extended periods without refrigeration, the Amish lean on two age-old methods: smoking and curing. These techniques have been cherished for generations. They offer both a way to keep food safe and a means to add a deep and smoky flavor that enhances meals throughout the year. Smoking is an art in itself. Cuts of pork, beef, and other meats are carefully hung above a smoldering wood fire. The smoke seeps into the meat, drying it slowly while infusing it with flavor and reducing moisture. This process naturally creates an environment where bacteria can not easily thrive, allowing the meat to last much longer. The smoked meat gains a savory depth over time, which makes it perfect for hearty Amish soups or as a flavorful addition to stews, while it can also be eaten directly for a satisfying snack. In addition to smoking, curing is another vital preservation tool that works hand in hand with it. For curing, meat is generously coated with salt, which draws out moisture and creates a protective barrier against bacteria. This method, especially valuable for extending the shelf life, allows Amish families to safely store meat for months. In many Amish homes, smoked and salt-cured meats hang in cool and dry cellars or pantries. Here, they are kept safe from any contamination and remain available for meals, even through the long winter months. Ensuring proper ventilation during smoking is key, preventing any dangerous smoke buildup and keeping the process safe, a simple yet essential practice that the Amish have refused to lose, perfected over time. These methods are not only about practicality, they bring a rich and traditional flavor to Amish cooking, creating a culinary experience that modern methods often overlook. Smoked and cured meats are a highlight of Amish gatherings, beloved for their distinct and layered flavors. Achieving this taste requires both patience and skill, underscoring the Amish's dedication to self-reliance and the flavors that reflect their heritage. In combining these techniques, they make the most of every season's bounty while preserving tastes that connect them to generations of tradition. The Amish have mastered the art of pickling, turning it into a reliable way to keep food safe and packed with flavor. This process is more than a simple method of preservation, it is a practical tradition that uses vinegar's natural acidity to stop bacteria in its tracks. Simply by immersing vegetables, eggs, and even meats in vinegar, this creates a protective environment that keeps food fresh and gives it that unmistakable tang. Pickled items like cucumbers, carrots, beets, and eggs are not just additions to Amish meals, but beloved essentials that bring a burst of zesty flavor to the table. It really is. The Amish process involves placing foods in a vinegar solution, typically with at least 5% acidity, which is strong enough to prevent bacterial growth. This acidity locks in nutrients and preserves the distinct and punchy flavors of each ingredient. Proper acidity is critical, so Amish families take great care to ensure the right balance. They use sterilized jars and tools to avoid contamination. This attention to detail ensures that each jar holds food that is safe, flavorful, and full of nutrients, ready to last for months without refrigeration. Pickling serves a practical purpose of food preservation. It also enriches Amish meals, adding depth and variety to dishes that might otherwise focus on fresh or dried staples. This technique is deeply rooted in Amish values of resourcefulness and self-reliance, making pickling as much about preserving tradition as it is about preserving food. Each jar, whether it is filled with crunchy pickles or brightly colored pickled eggs, tells a story of simplicity and respect for nature's resources. Amish families create flavorful and lasting foods that enhance their meals and reflect the values that have sustained their way of life for generations through pickling. The Amish have a deep-rooted tradition of using both salt and sugar to preserve food naturally, with each ingredient playing a unique role in keeping food safe and flavorful year-round. Salt curing is a method primarily used for meat, though it also works for certain vegetables, with the Amish often packing items like beans and cucumbers in layers of salt. This process draws out moisture and creates an environment that is inhospitable to bacteria and effectively slows down spoilage. Amish families typically layer their vegetables or fruits in coarse, non-iodized salt, sometimes adding herbs to enhance flavor. This method, though simple, provides the community with shelf-stable foods that do not rely on refrigeration, making it both practical and effective. To maintain quality, the Amish also ensure moisture levels remain low and avoid iodized salt, which can cause discoloration over time. On the other hand, sugar takes center stage when it comes to transforming fruits into jams and preserves, a method that creates sweet spreads capable of lasting years. The Amish use sugar to cook down fruits, forming thick and flavorful preserves that steal in the taste of summer. Sugar acts as a natural preservative by lowering water activity, which helps prevent spoilage and allows these jars of jam to be stored without refrigeration. However, Pullum has taken something else, filling their coolers with hundreds of degrees Fahrenheit to cool their foods. The process is both straightforward and delightful, with Amish families savoring these preserves on homemade bread and during winter months when fresh fruit is unavailable. To ensure safety, they carefully sterilize jars and utensils before sealing to ensure the longevity of these treats. Amish jams are not only a staple in their households, but are often sold at local markets where visitors can enjoy a taste of this timeless tradition. Salt preservation has its roots tracing back thousands of years and has been used by many cultures around the world for its reliability. Meanwhile, the Amish have perfected their jam-making techniques, blending practicality with a love for flavor, creating spreads that are as much a delight for the senses as they are a valuable food source. These methods embody the Amish values of simplicity and resourcefulness, linking traditional wisdom with the satisfying flavors of preserved food even in the modern era. In the Amish commitment to natural living and resourcefulness, they extend their creative preservation methods beyond what many would expect from a kitchen. In colder climates where winters can be long and harsh, the Amish often rely on a unique technique called cold water storage. This process involves placing watertight containers of perishable items such as dairy products in streams or wells. The steady and cool temperature of the flowing water acts as a natural refrigerator, keeping items fresh for months or even years without the need for electricity. This technique is especially useful for milk, butter, and other perishables, offering a sustainable and low-cost solution that takes advantage of the natural environment. Cold water storage is not a new concept by any means. It has historical roots going back centuries to a time when communities worldwide utilized the coolness of rivers and wells for temporary preservation before modern refrigeration existed. This time-tested method provides a practical and eco-friendly way to keep perishable items fresh and demonstrates how natural resources can serve as effective preservation tools. This historical practice, coupled with their overall approach to sustainability, shows how traditional methods can still serve as effective and eco-friendly solutions in contemporary times. This resourceful method has stood the test of time. It has continued to play an essential role in Amish communities where ingenuity and adaptability have always been key to surviving and thriving in a rapidly changing world. When it comes to preserving root vegetables, the Amish have a clever approach that keeps these hardy staples fresh long after harvest season. For storing root vegetables like carrots, beets, and potatoes, they use methods that mimic natural soil conditions by burying the vegetables in sand, hay, or sawdust. This traditional practice, which is rooted in simplicity, helps regulate moisture levels and insulates against temperature changes. This preserves the freshness and texture of the vegetables. In this process, the Amish carefully layer vegetables in bins or crates filled with sand, hay, or sawdust. They ensure that each vegetable is surrounded to avoid direct contact with others. The materials create a protective environment that slows down spoilage by controlling humidity and keeping temperature steady. These are key factors for extending shelf life. The Amish avoid excess moisture buildup by placing these storage bins in cool and dry areas like root cellars. This reduces the risk of mold or rot and keeps the vegetables crisp and ready for months. This technique is perfect for root vegetables as it mirrors the conditions found underground, where these vegetables naturally thrive. Unlike refrigeration, which can lead to unwanted moisture accumulation, sand and straw storage preserves vegetables in a way that retains their texture and nutritional value. The Amish rely on this low-cost and energy-free method as part of their sustainable lifestyle, avoiding modern preservatives and minimalizing waste. Interestingly, similar techniques have been used worldwide for centuries, from early European farmers to traditional cultures across Asia. This time-honored approach, based on simplicity and resourcefulness, perfectly aligns with the Amish commitment to natural and sustainable living and offers a valuable lesson in how effective nature-based methods can be for food storage. The Amish have developed an age-old method for preserving meat without refrigeration or lard sealing. In this technique, fresh cuts of meat are carefully encased in a thick layer of lard, which creates a natural and oxygen-free seal. This barrier prevents bacteria from reaching the meat and keeps it safe from spoilage. Unlike modern preservatives or packaging, lard is natural and nutrient-rich. It adds both flavor and longevity to the stored meat. Amish families often store lard-sealed meat in cool and dark cellars, which further enhances its shelf life, making it possible to keep meat fresh for months without any refrigeration. To ensure safety and quality, the Amish take several precautions. They use only clean, fresh lard and carefully inspect the meat before storage. Each piece is fully submerged in lard, as even a small gap could allow air to enter, and that could lead to potential spoilage. This meticulous approach ensures that the meat remains safe for consumption and retains its texture and flavor. When ready to eat, the meat is simply rinsed or wiped to remove the lard, which can then be reused in cooking. Lard adds a rich and savory quality to Amish meals. Lard sealing is more than just practical. It is a method rooted in tradition. Historical records show that this technique was widely used in various cultures before the advent of refrigeration, demonstrating the timeless utility of natural preservation. This method highlights the Amish commitment to resourcefulness, sustainability, and the art of traditional food preservation. In Amish communities, grains and legumes are dietary staples that need careful and long-term storage to stay fresh without modern refrigeration. The Amish rely on large silos and airtight containers, often made from durable materials like wood or metal, to protect these foods from moisture and pests for extended periods. Before storing, grains are dried and cleaned to eliminate any residue that could encourage mold or insects. Once prepared, they are carefully sealed in airtight containers and stored in cool and dry areas such as cellars or barns. This process not only preserves the grain's taste and nutrition, but also aligns with the Amish commitment to sustainable, self-sufficient living. Using airtight containers provides immense benefits. One is that it ensures a stable food supply through all seasons and reduces the need for frequent harvesting. Regular maintenance is key when using this technique. The Amish routinely check the containers for cracks or signs of moisture to prevent spoilage. They may even add natural pest repellents, like bay leaves, for additional protection. Grains can stay fresh for years, making it invaluable for the Amish, especially during harsh winters or lean seasons. Interestingly, this approach is rooted in ancient practices. Civilizations, such as those in Egypt and China, used similar methods to preserve grain, underscoring the practicality and durability of these traditional techniques. The Amish not only honor a timeless way of life, but also ensure food security and independence simply by maintaining these methods, showing how old world wisdom continues to serve practical needs in a modern context. And then there is this preservation method that brings a little extra flavor to the table. The Amish sometimes preserve fruits by submerging them in honey, wine, or alcohol. Both the natural sugars in honey and the alcohol create an inhospitable environment for bacteria, keeping fruits safe from spoilage while transforming them into rich and flavorful treats. The process is simple yet effective. Fruits are fully covered in honey or alcohol. It seals them off from air exposure and halts bacterial growth. This not only preserves the fruit's sweetness and texture, but also intensifies its flavor over time, making it a fantastic ingredient in baked goods or a tasty treat on its own. Using honey, in particular, is a traditional favorite, as it has natural antibacterial properties that amplify its preservative effect. Amish families know that fully covering the fruits is essential to prevent spoilage, so they take care to submerge each piece completely. Stored in cool and dark pantries, these honey or alcohol-infused fruits can last for years, aging like fine preserves. Beyond practicality, this method carries historical and cultural significance, as preserving honey dates back to ancient civilizations that valued its sweetness and longevity. In Amish kitchens, this approach aligns with their appreciation for natural, sustainable methods that add a unique richness to their food. What makes these methods truly remarkable is how seamlessly they come together to create a low-waste and sustainable way of life. In contemporary times, dominated by fast-pacing technology, the Amish have preserved their traditions by turning to nature's rhythms and time-tested practices, passing down this knowledge through generations. Today, we might not need to keep food fresh for years without a refrigerator. The Amish way shows us that it is not only achievable, but can also be beautiful and purposeful. Next time you reach for a jar of vegetables you bought from a store or something from the fridge, take a moment to consider the simple ingenuity behind these Amish methods. Their practices offer more than just self-sufficiency. They remind us that some of the most effective solutions do not come from advanced gadgets or conveniences, but from understanding and harmonizing with the natural world. If you enjoyed learning about these traditional methods from the Amish lifestyle, check out another video on the Amish approaches to farming without machinery. In it, you will discover more about the unique ways this community thrives without modern technology. Just click over, and I will see you there.